कस्तूरी तिलकम ललाटपटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभम नासाग्रे नवमौक्तिकम करतले वेणुः करे कण्कणम् सर्वांगे हरिचंदनम कंठेचु मुक्तावली गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूडामणि गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूडामणि भक्तापाय भुजंग गारूडमणिः त्रैलोक्य रक्षामणिः गोपीलोचन चातकाम्बुदमणिः सौंदर्य मुद्रामणिः यह कांतामणि रुक्मिणी गणकुच द्वंद्वैक भूषामणिः श्रेयोदेय शिखामणिः दिशतु नो गोपाल चूडामणिः गोपस्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपाल चूडामणिः. Surrounded by the gopikas who are the embodiments of quintessential bhakti, Gopala, Krishna is the crown jewel. Victory to him. We are all fascinated by beauty. Life is all about pursuit of happiness, which is pursuit of truth, which in reality is pursuit of beauty. Pursuit of beauty is pursuit of Krishna. Because beauty is Krishna, Krishna is beauty. Truth is beautiful. Because truth is Krishna and Krishna is beautiful. The truth of beauty also needs to be known. The beauty of truth is that Krishna is truth and hence truth is beautiful. What is the truth of beauty? When we look at the world around, we are fascinated by the beauty, by the wonder of this world. The truth of this beauty is that it is nothing but an infinitesimal fragment of the infinite beauty of Krishna. The only problem with the beauty of the world is, while it is also captivating, it also is entangling. Krishna's beauty is elevating, the beauty of the world is entangling. Why? Because it does not allow us to go beyond the surface. We get entangled at the surface without realizing that the beauty that we experience in this world is just a small spark which belongs to the reservoir of infinite beauty. The Gopikas of Vraja know this beauty of truth and the truth of beauty. They know that Krishna is the source of all beauty. He is the source of all attraction. They know he is the source of all sources and everything belongs to him, including us. And when we realize, like the Gopikas of Vraja, that we belong only to Krishna, our longing for him gets strengthened. Bhagavatam is beautiful because, as we know, Bhagavatam is nothing but a form of Krishna. Krishna is beautiful, therefore Bhagavatam has to be beautiful. Vyasa wrote Srimad Bhagavatam in order to capture Krishna Katha. But we sometimes wonder, in the process of capturing Krishna Katha, why did Vyasa take 9 cantos? We have to endure 9 cantos until we reach the 10th canto. in order for us to dive deep into Krishna Katha, we become impatient. It is okay to be impatient when it comes to Krishna's rasa. Worldly impatience makes us a patient. Impatience for Krishna rasa makes us healthy. Therefore, it is nothing wrong to be impatient for Krishna rasa. But we also need to realize Vyasa has a plan. We need preparation to dive into the Samam Bonam of Bhagavatam, which is Krishna Katha. The 9 cantos of Bhagavatam essentially are structured in a way that by the time we arrive, we are ready. By the time we begin 10th canto, we are ready not just to relish Krishna Katha, but to experience Krishna. That preparation is needed. But at the same time, it is also fair that we thirst for Krishna. It is also fair that we all need to experience Krishna as early as possible. Krishna Trishna is, after all, is needed. Therefore, right at the beginning of the 3rd canto, we get to experience Krishna Katha in summary. As we begin the 3rd canto, we should also consider ourselves to be blessed, because right at the beginning, we have an opportunity to immerse ourselves in Krishna Katha. The 3rd canto essentially consists of 2 important conversations. Conversation between Vidura and Uddhava. Conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. The moment we hear the name Uddhava, we are assured of experiencing Krishna. The very first conversation in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is this glorious conversation between Vidura and Uddhava, and then follows, based on Uddhava's direction, Vidura then approaches Maitreya to have another conversation with him. And both these conversations are recounted by Shukha to Parikshit. So therefore, today, as we begin the 3rd canto, we will also get an opportunity to taste Krishna Rasa. Krishna Rasa shared with us by none other than that embodiment of Krishna Trishna, Uddhava himself. Vidura is on a pilgrimage. After being insulted by Duryodhana, Vidura leaves Hastinapura and he goes on a pilgrimage all over Bharata. As Vidura travels, all the events, disastrous events, unfold in Hastinapura. Vidura is not present during the Great War. He is far away, visiting all Punya Kshetras across Bharata. Vidura is unaware of all the happenings that take place, the destruction of the Kuru Vamsha. Vidura is also unaware of the destruction of Yadu Vamsha as well. And Vidura, as he is going around Bharata Desha, visiting all Punya Kshetras, finally encounters the great Uddhava. 3rd canto is where, after explaining the travels of Vidura, we get to witness the conversation between Vidura and Uddhava. Vidura is very inquisitive. He wants to know the well-being of all the Kauravas and Pandavas. And more importantly, he wants to know the well-being of all the Yadavas and his very dear Krishna. He wants to know more about Krishna, and who else can be a better person to talk about Krishna than Uddhava himself. So Vidura considers himself very blessed, having met Uddhava, and he is very keen. He makes a flurry of questions, asking Uddhava to answer, and more importantly, he wants to know all about Krishna. As Vidura asks all these questions, Uddhava, the moment when Uddhava is asked about Krishna, Uddhava gets into a contemplative mode. Because if Uddhava knows what Vidura doesn't know, Vidura doesn't know the departure of Bhagavan to Vaikuntha. Uddhava is already in distress. The entire Yadava Kula has been eliminated. Dwaraka is no more. All his kith and kin have all gone, and his very life, Bhagavan Krishna, is no more with him. Uddhava is in such a distressful state. Sri Shukha Uvacha Iti Bhagavata Prishtaha Kshatra Vartam Priyashrayam Prativaktum na chotehi Aukauntikat Smarteshwaraha. When Vidura asks Uddhava to share details on Krishna, Autkantyat Smarta Keshwaraha. Immediately, Uddhava is in a state of anxiety, is in a state of distress. The moment he heard the word Krishna, Uddhava couldn't withstand, because all the remembrances of Krishna, the time that he spent with Krishna, started flooding his mind. Uddhava got into a very deep meditative mode, his mind and his heart filled with Krishna. It is said here, Autkantyat Smartikeshwaraha, anxiety. Now, is anxiety a negative emotion or a positive emotion? How can Uddhava, the great bhakta, be in distress? Remembering Krishna. Remembering Krishna, how can one get into a state of distress? When one remembers Krishna, one should be in a state of joy, ananda. Why Uddhava gets into a state of distress, one may ask. We need to understand the difference between material emotions and spiritual emotions. Material emotions are triggered by external objects, external events, external situations. Material emotions are nothing but disturbances in the mind. Material emotions are experienced when we are disconnected from Krishna. Material emotions are rooted in that one primordial emotion called fear. Material emotions, be it pleasure or pain, are both poisons. Pleasure is a poison, pain is a poison. The only difference is pleasure is a sweet poison, pain is a bitter poison, but both are poisons. On the other hand, spiritual emotions are innate to the Atman, intrinsic to our nature. Spiritual emotions are experienced when we are connected with Krishna. Spiritual emotions are rooted in the primary emotion which is natural to us, the emotion of love. The emotion of loving servitude to Bhagavan. Spiritual emotions are also of different kinds. They are all various flavors, various manifestations of love for Krishna. We can also have distress, which can also be spiritual emotion, like Uddhava here. How can there be distress which is spiritual emotion? when we experience separation from Krishna, that distress is a spiritual emotion. It's like a fish out of water. Uddhava cannot withstand, cannot sustain himself without Krishna even for a moment. He is like fish out of water. Therefore, when he starts remembering Krishna, he gets into a deep state of distress, unable to bear separation from Krishna. Uddhava is like the Gopikas of Vraja. For them, Krishna is like oxygen. Without Krishna, there is no existence. So therefore, when like Gopikas, like Uddhava, when one experiences spiritual emotions, our longing for Krishna only gets strengthened. So therefore here, Aukantyat Smariteshwaraha. Uddhava, remembering Krishna, becomes very anxious. And Vidura is aware. Vidura gives time. So Vidura asks him a series of questions wanting to know about Krishna, and then gives him time to settle down. He can see what's going on with Uddhava. Sa muhurtam abhut tushnim krishnangri sudhaya pusham nirvena bhakti yogena nirbagnaha sadhu nirvritaha. Of the many characters in Srimad Bhagavatam, Uddhava stands apart. The more we know about Uddhava, the more inspired we are. Luckily for us, we don't need to wait until 10th canto and the 11th canto. Uddhava Gita happens only in the 11th canto, but luckily for us, right here in the 3rd canto, we get to get a glimpse of Uddhava's glory, his quintessential bhakti. Samuhurtam abhut tushnim. The moment Vidura inquires about Krishna, Uddhava becomes silent, unable to speak. His eyes are brimming with tears, unable to contain himself. Krishnangri Sudhaya Pusham. All that he can think of is Krishna's lotus feet. Devrena Bhakti Yogena Nimagnaha Sadhu Nirvritaha. Nimagnaha. He is ever absorbed in Krishna. Uddhava is ever absorbed in Krishna. And the moment Vidura starts inquiring, Uddhava starts to replay various incidents in his mind. Various incidents of Krishna Leela start to get replayed in his mind. Krishna's cheshtitas. Sometimes we wonder, how come Krishna cheshtita evoke supreme bhakti in us? How come the pranks of a little child kindle bhakti in us? Many a time, there is this question that is asked. Krishna cheshtitas are not ordinary actions. To those who know Krishna Leela, again, know, quote unquote, underline, very important, to know Krishna Leela, the result is not just amusement or amazement. Krishna Leela may be very amusing, no doubt. It is also amazing, no doubt. But the result of knowing Krishna Leela is not just amusement or amazement, it is attainment. Knowing Krishna Leela is knowing Krishna, and knowing Krishna is attaining Krishna. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sochuna. Janma karma cha me divyam. It is enough to spend our lifetime relishing Krishna Leela. Nothing else is needed. What did the Gopikas of Vraja do other than relishing Krishna and his Leelas? What else is needed? Knowing Krishna Leela is definitely, as the Shastras guarantee, attainment of Krishna is guaranteed. And therefore, when Vidura asks about the various deeds of Krishna, Uddhava starts to play back every incident of Krishna Leela, and he is in a deep contemplative nirmagnaha. He gets so very absorbed. Nirvritaha. He gets deep. He dives deep into ecstasy of love for Krishna. And Vidura looks at Uddhava, and Vidura is no less. Vidura is also a great jnani, a great bhakta of Krishna, but Vidura has great respect for Uddhava. Witnessing what Uddhava is going through, immersed in Krishna Trishna, Vidura is also inspired. Palakodbhinna sarvangaha. He sees Uddhava's body transforming. The very thought of Krishna and Krishna's cheshtitas. Not only Uddhava is experiencing horripilations, Vidura is able to notice that and get inspired. Palakodbhinna sarvangaha munchan mela drishashuchaha. Tears are rolling out from Uddhava's eyes. Purnartho lakshitasthena sneha prasara samplutaha. Sneha prasara samplutaha. Uddhava is experiencing Paramananda, Brahmananda, quintessential happiness. And looking at Uddhava, Vidura is also experiencing the same. Uddhava is experiencing happiness here. Many a time we equate happiness with physical sensations. When we taste something very good, when we see something very attractive, when we smell something very interesting, these sensations we tend to believe lead us to happiness. But physical sensations are nothing but peripheral to who we are. They are peripheral to our nature. Because sensations, after all, belong to the domain of Prakriti. They belong to the body, and they are temporary, transient, fleeting. They can only lead not to happiness, not to pleasure, but only to sorrow. Only when we redirect our mind towards Krishna, which is absorption in Krishna. When we are absorbed in Krishna, two things happen. Like what is happening to Uddhava here. When we are absorbed in Krishna, Krishna illumines us from within. When we are absorbed in Krishna, automatically what seems like a challenge in terms of comprehending reality becomes so very effortless. Because Krishna is illumining from within and revealing everything to us. Tesham yevanukampartha aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayam yatma bhavastaha jnanadhipena bhasvata. Krishna himself declares. So when we are absorbed in Krishna, Krishna illumines us from within, and also Krishna empowers us to attain him effortlessly. So therefore, the ultimate sadhana is to remain absorbed in Krishna, and here Uddhava is demonstrating this to us. And absorbed in that state, Uddhava begins to share with Vidura his remembrances. So when two Mahatmas converse, the conversation can nothing be less than glorious. Vidura listening, and Uddhava, actually Uddhava is not speaking. Uddhava is just enjoying Krishna. And in that process, whatever is coming out is expressing is just an expression of his contemplation on Krishna. And in that process, Uddhava is sharing with Vidura the news of Krishna's departure, the news of his separation from Krishna. And in that process, as he shares his separation, the news of his separation from Krishna, suddenly something strikes to Uddhava as well. Uddhava realizes this separation from Krishna is after all a result of his own prayers. Sometimes when we pray, we also need to be very careful. Uddhava is reminded, because Uddhava was earlier sent by Krishna to Vraja. Krishna, after coming to Dwaraka, could never go back to Vraja. And therefore, Krishna was always thinking about the Gopikas, and he knew that without him, they would be undergoing tremendous agony. So Krishna always wanted to go back to Vrajabhumi. But for some reason or the other, he was not able to, and therefore he sends his Sakha, Uddhava, and through Uddhava he sends a message to the gopis of Vraja. Uddhava, a great bhakta of Krishna, while traveling to Vrindavan, thinks, how great can be these gopis? I am the greatest bhakta of Krishna. They are also bhaktas of Krishna. What is there for me to learn from them? I would go there and I would teach them how to handle the agony of not being able to have Krishna in their presence. Let me go and teach them jnana. And when Uddhava arrives in Vraja, then Uddhava realizes that the Gopikas are the teachers and he has to be their student. And then and there, Uddhava prays to Krishna. Hey Krishna, give me that experience that these glorious Gopikas of Vraja have. I want to have the experience of Gopikas. And therefore, while there are many reasons for the elimination of the race of Yadu, one of the reasons is Krishna orchestrated everything for Uddhava also to lose everyone, their kith and kin, including Krishna, and experience that separation as to how the Gopikas experience separation from Krishna. Therefore, now Uddhava, remembering that, shares his experience. He says, Yasyanuraga Plutahasarasa Leelavaloka Pratilabdhamanaha Rajastriyaha Dridbhir Anupravritta Diyovatustaha Kilakritya Seshaha. The moment we start discussing the gopis of Vraja, we are not just fascinated, we are inspired by the bhakti that they demonstrate. Leelavaloka Pratilabdhamanaha Yasyanuraga Plutahasa Rasa. Ever engaged with Krishna all the time, always connected with him. Gopi Lochana Chatakam Pudamani. Their eyes are always following Krishna, doing whatever Krishna does. Always connected, thinking about him, always acting like him, always doing things the way Krishna wants, always thinking about how to please him. And when Krishna did not appear in front of them, they are in anguish. Pratilabdhamanaha, anguished when Krishna gets separated. Rajastriyaha dribbir anupravritta diyovatusta kilakritya sesha. When Krishna gets separated from them, it seems they went dead silent, unable to withstand that separation, unable to do any of their duties, completely paralyzed, not knowing how to handle that separation. Uddhava is going through that separation from Krishna. Many times, people look at Bhagavatam and say, Bhagavatam seems to be preoccupied with death because it begins with death, and the topic of death is discussed throughout in detail across several cantos. But in reality, Bhagavatam is not preoccupied with death. If we look at Bhagavatam, the big picture, it is, to rightfully say so, it is preoccupied with separation. Bhagavatam, the bulk of Bhagavatam is spoken in the shadow of separation from Krishna. In a way, death is also separation. Separation of the Atman from the physical body. Separation from wealth. Separation from honor is traumatic for those who are worldly in nature. Separation from the body is also very traumatic. But separation from Krishna is traumatic for those who are true bhaktas. Just like how wind is to a forest. Just like how a wind is to a forest fire, separation is the same to bhakti. Separation does to bhakti what wind does to fire. When wind blows, the fire can either expand or extinguish. If the fire is like forest fire, if it's a conflagration, it will only expand. But if it is a candlelight, it will get extinguished. So therefore, separation, just like how wind can expand forest fire, can expand bhakti when bhakti is very strong. When bhakti is very weak, separation can extinguish. Therefore, for great bhaktas, the Gopikas of Vraja, separation is like what wind does to a forest fire. Even for Uddhava, it's the same. He's separated from Krishna, but it only expands. The bhakti only consumes him even more. Uddhava, replaying that Rasa Leela of Krishna, recognizes this fundamental fact. The fundamental fact on answering one very important question. Many times we want Shastras to give us an answer to a question that we always have. Everyone asks this question. Not once, not twice, they keep asking this question. Why do bad things happen to good people? Always this question is asked, and we want very convincing answer all the time. Yes, important question to ask, and our Shastras have very convincing answer. But more important than this question, the question that we need to ask and get answer for is not why always bad things happen to good people. The question for which we need to seek answer is, when bad things happen to good people, what do good people do? We need to know the answer to this question. Because knowing answer to the first question is possibly necessary but not sufficient. So we need to know the answer to this question as to, when bad things happen to good people, what do they do? When bad things happen to great bhaktas, how do they handle the situation? So therefore, it is important to get the answer to this question. When bad things happen to good people, what do they do? And the gopis of Vraja give us this answer. The gopis of Vraja, they give everything to Krishna. They give themselves to Krishna. And Krishna gives up on them. But then, even though Krishna happens to be the source of their quote-unquote pain, they are devoted to that very source, which gives them pain. But that pain is not the material pain. That separation from Krishna strengthens their bhakti. So therefore, instead of asking this question as to why life is unfair to us, instead of questioning unfairness of life, one must focus on mercifulness of Krishna. Uddhava learned this from the Gopikas of Vraja. And because of that experience that he had in Vrajabhumi, Uddhava is now able to handle the separation from Krishna. Uddhava is traumatized, but then Uddhava, in that state of separation from Krishna, his bhakti is even more strengthened, and he goes about executing Krishna's command of taking his teachings to the rishis of Badrikashrama. So Uddhava here is now reminded of the gopis of Vraja and how devoted they are to Krishna. Then Uddhava, being reminded of the gopis of Vraja, rewinds and goes back to the very advent of Krishna. Mam khedayati etat ajasya janma vidambanam yat vasudeva gehe prajecha vaso aribhayat ivasvayam purat yavastit yat anantavidyah. Now, Uddhava has another kind of an emotion here. He is bewildered by some of the incidents of Krishna's leelas. He is really bewildered. Vidambanam. Khadayati vidambanam. Mam khadayati vidambanam. He is bewildered, and that is also giving him some kind of a distress, not knowing why Krishna is doing what he did. Reflecting on Krishna's janma, his appearance. Mam khedayati etat ajasya janma ajayamano bahuda vijay. The one, the unborn, took birth as son of Devaki and Vasudeva. And what did he do? He immediately went to Vraja and he hid himself there, in fearful of his enemies. Why should he be hiding in Vraja? Only because he was basically, as though he was fearful of his enemies in Mathura. And he says, Anantaviryaha, the one who is omnipotent, who is the most powerful. Why should he be fearful of Kamsa? Why did he run all the way to Vraja? He should have stayed back in Mathura and he should have killed Kamsa. Why should he go all the way and hide himself in Gokula and keep running all the time? He says, I'm bewildered. Hey, Vidura, reflecting on this, I'm bewildered. I have no answer. This is also causing distress in my mind. Why? Because why should Bhagavan put himself to all this trouble? Out of compassion, he descends. He belittles himself. He belittles himself and he takes birth as an ordinary cowherd, an ordinary child. He becomes a cowherd and he behaves like an ordinary mortal. So when we reflect on this, we are really amazed. When we see how Bhagavan, out of compassion, becomes a little child, a helpless child. And more importantly, when we start reflecting on how Bhagavan renounces everything for our sake, we may ask, what did he renounce? What did he renounce? When Bhagavan took the avatar of Krishna and went to Vraja, he renounced something which each and every one of us would not be willing to. He renounced the majesty of Godhood. A little power given to us, we would always try to cling on, hold on, always exercise it. Bhagavan in his avatars is ready to renounce the majesty of his Godhood and act like an ordinary mortal. Uddhava is amazed, is bewildered, reflecting on this. Sa Putana Shakatamarjunoyoscha Yukmam Balyojita Anyapara Cheshtita Vishpulinge Yasyalabhanta Shalabatva Mahori Godaha Sattvam Vraje Vavadeshekila Kamsadhitya. The great Kuresha in his Atimanusha Sthava also wonders. Similar to Uddhava, Kuresha is also wondering, hey Krishna, Sa Putana Shakatamarjunayoscha Yukmam Balyojita Anyapara Cheshtita Vishpulinge Yasyalabhantam Shalabatva Mahori Godaha Sattvam Vraje Vavadeshekila Kamsadhitya. How can I ever reconcile your contradictory acts, hey Krishna? On the one hand, you are fearful, you make us believe that you are in fear of all Kamsa and all the Rakshasas and you are hiding. On the other hand, you are effortlessly eliminating all the Rakshasas. Just like how fire destroys a firefly in a moment, Rakshasa after Rakshasa, you are eliminating them so very effortlessly. At the same time, you are also acting like a little child and hiding in Vraja. How can I ever reconcile this contradictory action of yours? It's bewildering. Similarly, Uddhava here is bewildered. And Uddhava says, Hova amushyangri sarojarenum vishmattumeshita puman vijigran yo vishpuradbhru vitapena bhume bharam kritantena tirashchakara. He says, hey Krishna, just like how one raises an eyebrow, effortlessly you eliminated everyone who became a burden to Mother Earth. And therefore, I surrender to that lotus feet. How can I ever forget the smell of not your lotus feet, the smell of the dust that is associated with the lotus feet? How can I ever forget that smell of the dust that belongs, that has the association to your lotus feet? He says, who can bear your separation, hey Krishna? He is merciful not only to his devotees, he is equally merciful to those who hated him. This is Krishna's beauty. And in that context, Uddhava then remembers, Drishta bhavadbhir nanu rajasuye chaityasya krishnam vishitopi siddhihi yam yogina samprashayanti samyag yogena kastat viraham saketa. He is reminded of the incident of Chaitya King Shishupala. He says, hey Vidura, you too remember, you were witness to that incident that happened during Rajasuya, where the Chaitya king was not punished. He was in fact blessed because Shishupala attained that state. He attained that state which even yogis with all their sadhanas could not. Therefore, Shishupala, who hated Krishna, was also blessed by Krishna. How can one ever bear the separation from him? Sometimes we ask this question, is Krishna partial? He seems to have his favorites. We need to know that to Krishna, everyone is equal. To Krishna, everyone is equal. Of course, Bhagavan is not an impersonal principle. He is not an abstract concept. He is someone, a person who reciprocates love. Therefore, when bhaktas love him, Krishna reciprocates. He reciprocates to everyone. When I avoid him, he reciprocates. How he reciprocates? By not interfering. When I avoid him also, he reciprocates. And when I love him, he reciprocates. He intervenes. Therefore, is Krishna partial? Yes, he is partial, but he is impartially partial. What is this impartial partiality? Because he impartially opens the door to his partiality. The door to his partiality is open to all. And the moment one enters the door, he becomes partial. Therefore, he is impartial, he is also partial. He is impartially partial. And here, Uddhava is remembering how Krishna is equal to everyone. And then he also, that supreme person, the difficulties that he underwent when he took the avatara. Because Uddhava cannot bear to see Krishna undergo any pain, to see Krishna belittling himself. He says, why should Krishna fold his hands and stand in front of the kings? Why should Krishna do all this like a very ordinary mortal? He says, Vasudevasya devakyam jato bhojendra bandhane chikirshur bhagavanasya sham ajenabhi achitaha. Even his birth is very ordinary, no fanfare. These days, when a superstar arrives, there is so much of fanfare. Krishna arrived in this world, a low-key affair. No fanfare whatsoever. Completely went unnoticed. And where did he take his birth? In a prison. He took a birth in a prison for only one reason. In order to get us out of our prison, the prison of samsara. Krishna, taking birth as a son of Vasudeva and Devaki, in order to ensure the welfare of this world. And reminiscing on the childhood pastimes of Krishna, Uddhava is very thrilled. Kaumarim darshayam cheshtam prekshaniyam rajaukasam. Uddhava says, Vraja was always special to Krishna. He always did something very special. As long as he was there in Vraja, he did some amazing things, especially for the sake of Vrajavasis. Rudanniva Hasan Muddha Balasimha Avalokanaha. He calls him Balasimha. A little lion, Balasimha. Kvatva Pukundamagatim Kulashila Vrittam Vidyavayo Dravinadhama Viratmutulyam Dhirapatim Kulavatirna Vritina Kanya Kale Nrasimha Naraloka Manobhirama. Rukmini calls Krishna Nrasimha. That is, Krishna was grown up. Uddhava calls him Balasimha, the little lion. Just like Prahlada Varada Nrasimha, Krishna is Vrajavarada Nrasimha. Sinchati Simhaha, Hinasti Simhaha. He is Simha because he showers his grace unconditionally and he removes all kinds of afflictions. Therefore, Vrajavasis are very special to Krishna. He is their Balasimha. And the kind of cheshtitas that he did in Vraja, how blessed the Vrajavasis were. Uddhava reminded of those incidents while Uddhava was not fortunate. He only heard about this. Uddhava only met Krishna after Krishna went to Mathura. But even just hearing, listening to these glorious Leelas of Krishna, Uddhava is very thrilled. Pashyatsu Surishu Sada Paramam Padam Te Devya Saha Vrishan. Here, Kuresha, he says, Pashyatsu Surishu Sada Paramam Padam Te Devya Shriya Saha Vasan Paraya Vibhutya, he says. Hey Krishna, you own both the Nitya Vibhuti and Leela Vibhuti. You own everything. There is nothing which is not yours, hey Krishna. You are the owner of everything, both the Nitya Vibhuti and Leela Vibhuti. Yogena yoga nirataihi paribhrugyamanaha. Kim tvam vraje, kim tam vraje, navanitamaho vyamushna. When you own everything, what was the reason for you to go around stealing butter? Hey Krishna, I am unable to reconcile this cheshtita of yours. On the one hand, you own everything. If you own everything, where is the need to steal? Uddhava is thrilled, replaying every incident of Krishna Leela. Vipannan Vishapanena Nigrya Bujagadipatim Uddhapa Apayat Gavaha Tattoyam Prakatistitam. He is now reminded of Kalinga Mardhana. Tattoyam Prakatistitam. Tattoyam Prakatistitam, he says. The waters of Yamuna once again were made fit to be drunk by everybody. Yamuna belongs to all, does not belong to Kaliya alone. Kaliya thought Yamuna belongs to him. Overcome by pride, Kaliya started to think he owns Yamuna and he poisoned. Kaliya was driven away by Krishna and a lesson was taught. Kaliya was shown who is the Supreme Master. Who is the Supreme Master? And Uddhava, that Supreme Master, is no longer with me. Uddhava is reminded of that incident. Varshatindre Vrajakopa Bhagnamane Ati Vihvalaha Gotra Leela Tapatrena Trato Bhadra Anugranata. After Kalinga Mardhana, Govardhana Dharana. Trato Bhadra Anugranata. How compassionate Krishna was when Indra began to bombard Rajabhumi mercilessly with thunder and rain, and when the whole place was inundated, flooded, Krishna effortlessly lifted the Govardhana, demonstrating that he is the Adhara of everything. And Uddhava is reminiscing Adharatva of Krishna. And then Uddhava, as he reminisces Govardhana Dharana, he is taken back to Vrindavana. Sharaschasi Karair Mrishtam Manayan Rajani Mukham. Sharaschasi Karair Mrishtam. This also shows how Uddhava is not just recounting, he is experiencing. He now sees himself in Vrindavana as one of the gopis. Sharaschasi Karair Mrishtam Manayan Rajani Mukham Gayan Kalapadam Reme Strinam Mandala Mandanaha. Suddenly it seems there were two moons competing, one full moon in the sky, but there was an even more beautiful full moon on the earth, surrounded by all the gopikas. And Krishna, surrounded by the gopikas, mesmerizing them with mellifluous music, engaged in Rasa Krida, Strinam Mandala Mandana, assembly of the Gopika Stris. The moment Uddhava started to experience Rasa Krida, he couldn't speak anymore. He stops, he pauses. He is in awe of the Gopikas of Vraja. It is only fair that we do pause here. prostrations to Uddhava, prostrations to Krishna, more importantly, prostrations to the Gopikas of Braja. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanam.